Oh hi! Thanks for tuning in. The winner of last week's raffle will be announced towards the end of the video. And while you're here, don't forget to do all the YouTube things. Comment, subscribe, and high-five that like button like you would the hand of your senator for their vote to make Juneteenth a national holiday. If you live in a red state, then go right back to that senator and slap them for their hypocritical efforts to pass restrictive voting laws and ban teaching critical race theory in the classroom, both of which have a negative impact on bi-POC communities. Speaking of restricting voting laws and critical race theory, let's dig into those a bit in today's segment of Barely Learning. Republican-controlled states are doing some pretty horrible things right now, continuing their cartoonishly evil streak. The most recent is that some of the GOP are passing laws banning teaching critical race theory, or CRT, in the classroom. Wikipedia defines CRT as an academic movement of civil rights scholars and activists who seek to critically examine the law as it intersects with issues of race and to challenge mainstream liberal approaches to racial justice. Critical race theory examines social, cultural, and legal issues as they relate to race and racism. Okay, so I know what questions are on your mind right now. They are, Bear, what did you just say and what exactly did it mean? Okay, I'll give you the bare facts. In short, it's a way to examine and study history, social, cultural, and legal issues, all without pretending that racism doesn't exist. In America, the states create their own teaching standard and education curriculum for their schools. There is nothing on the federal level, leaving it up to the states to create their own models. Some states teach a very biased version of how bi-POC people were treated in history, glossing over the truth. Teaching the truth in the classroom should not be seen as brainwashing or propaganda. Teachers shouldn't have to walk on eggshells to teach fact versus myth. We must learn the history so that we never repeat it. On to the next issue, restrictive voting laws. Unfortunately, my shows are not lengthy, and this topic is so much larger than what I have time for. So I'll give you some info and then show you a clip that went viral not too long ago. These laws look to roll back the Voting Rights Act in various ways, from outright just creating obstacles for voters to jump through, to even including some clever wording that have a racist history which can cause an intimidating and high anxiety atmosphere for people. To justify these new voter suppression laws, you'll hear the GOP say things like, these new laws are there to protect the integrity of the elections and to continue to make sure the elections are fair. Then they'll ask, why don't you want fair elections that the people can trust? But if this was reversed, this is what the conservative media would call a gotcha question, to try and see if they can catch you with an emotional gaffe. This whole response from the GOP is an effort to spin and create a distraction from showing you the basics of how easy this is to grasp. Basically, conservatives have been trying to suppress votes for over a century. The law that helped them most recently was disputed and settled by the Supreme Court in 2008. That was Crawford versus Marin County, Indiana, where a 2005 Indiana law required all voters casting a ballot in person to present a United States or Indiana photo ID. Under the Indiana law, voters who do not have a photo ID may cast a provisional ballot. To have the vote counted, you had to also visit a designated government office within 10 days and bring a photo ID or sign a statement saying you could not afford one. This case went to the Supreme Court and neither side had witnesses to say that there was corruption prior to the law or that the law caused a hardship. So the judgment ruled in favor of the GOP, affirming the law. After this, the GOP states have been adding similar laws to make it harder for people to vote. Obstacles like voter ID, voter roll purges, closing voting polls at high traffic times, taking away ballot drop box locations, and more. Research has shown that the people who these laws affect the most are people of color. Of course, everyone wants fair elections, but here's the thing. They are using claims of voter fraud like invalid addresses, faulty registration cards, ineligibility by conviction, double votes, dead votes, underage voters, non-citizens, extra ballots, and more to justify these laws. But the data that has been collected show that the voter fraud, including all the examples I just listed, is almost non-existent, and none of it would change the outcome of any election. That is said because of cases like this one in Wisconsin. 3.3 million ballots cast, and out of 3.3 million, only 27 ballots were cited as possible fraud. However, when challenged with the facts, the GOP doesn't want to hear that. They want to play it off as emotional cases to justify all of it. As I said, this is a huge topic, so I can't go in on it as much as I'd like to. But lastly, I also want to point out that even the wording used in these laws have been intimidating to people of color. For this part, I have a clip that may help explain it better. Let's take a look.
What was your motivation for using that term purity at the ballot box? Because that's a specific set of words that has a lot of meaning in state history.
Well,
what was your intention?
I'm going to answer for you. You know, you may have figured it out by now. I really like the state constitution, and I think as a legislative body, just as Congress should, they should be looking for their authority from their charter. from the thing that gives them power. And so when we're looking at what authorizes us, right, the sovereign people of the state of Texas who delegated their authority through the Constitution, we then should look to the Constitution and say, what gives us authority to do anything on this issue? And that's the provision that does that, and so that would be why.
And do you know what the motivation was for that Texas Constitution? And you're referring specifically to the Texas Constitution of 1876, correct?
Yeah, our current Constitution, yes.
All right.
Did
you look at the history before using that word?
No. The only thing, if we were to have a discussion, maybe over some coffee or a drink, somebody I could go into the details of Article 1 really well. I've read the debates and the journals of the Convention of 1875 on that for that thing, but I'm not familiar with the one.
You may have missed it then.
Article 6.
And this would have been very obvious, I think, to anybody who looked at that language. And that provision was drafted specifically to disenfranchise black people, black voters, in fact, following the Civil War. Did you know that?
No, I'm sorry to hear that.
And are you familiar with white primaries?
We've heard and read of such thing. I'm glad
have you read about those?
It's a disgusting thing. Yes.
Did you realize that purity of the ballot box language in the Texas Constitution gave rise to all white primaries?
No, I didn't.
And did you know that this purity at the ballot box justification was also used during the Jim Crow era to prevent black people from voting?
No, those are troubling things. I didn't know that was their
Did
reason.
you know that in states across the country that penal disenfranchisement schemes were put in place, including in Texas, as far back as 1845, to effectively lock African American people out of the political process? Are you aware of this history?
You know, I think we've said a few times that I wasn't aware of any kind of malicious intent in the use of that term.
Okay.
And the reason it was used is I looked at the Constitution because I believe our authority is derived from the people, and that's why.
Gentleman's time's expired.
Mr. Speaker.
I hope I've been able to give you a better grasp of all of this, so that you can understand why people are angry and why it's so important. Something else that is important is keeping you virus-free. I hope you are all staying safe, getting vaccinated, social distancing, and wearing a cute bear mask, like one modeled after yours truly. Find it on lemonbrat.com. So affordable. Look at this cuteness. Let's get down to the news. Welcome to Barely a Bar's Woke52 Season 2, Week 24. I'm your Professor HilaHila Bear, and I hope you all took down notes. Now, pop quiz. How long has racist voter suppression efforts been underway? 1 year, 5 years, 20 years, or over a century? Okay, pencils down, papers forward. This is gonna be 30% of your final grade! The For the People Act, which passed in the House, did not yet see passage in the Senate due to the filibuster and Democrat Joe Manchin, who insisted the bill needed to be bipartisan. The act would stop voter suppression laws in various GOP states by expanding voting rights, change campaign finance laws to reduce the influence of money in politics, limit partisan gerrymandering, and create new ethics rules for federal office holders. Manchin released a list of voting and campaign finance changes to the legislation that he would back on Wednesday, opening the door to compromise on the voting bill. Voting rights advocate Stacey Abrams threw her support behind Manchin's voting legislation compromise, handing him a key endorsement. Mitch McConnell is still an obstacle, though, saying that the bill is an assault on the fundamental idea that states, not the federal government, should decide how to run their own elections. McConnell also basically complained that it wouldn't allow them to cheat by gerrymandering their districts anymore, complaining that the act takes redistricting away from the state legislators and hands it over to computers. Juneteenth is now the 12th federal holiday. Trump is mad he isn't getting credit from, quote, the blacks for it. New York City votes for a new mayor, using ranked choice voting for the primary. Obamacare remains the law of the land. Boom! 52 seconds. Now, 52 seconds is not a lot of time to catch all the news happening. So here's one of our contributors in our segment, 59 Seconds with Sky Bear. Oh, wait, is that a phone call? Hello?
There you are.
Oh,
I'm
hi.
glad you finally answered. I know you're busy. So, do you have some time for some Smash Bros?
No, that's not really my thing. There's so much news to look over.
Yeah, I know it's not your thing. However, they did reveal a new character
Oh, new?
from Tekken.
Oh my god, is it Kuma? Is it Panda? It's Panda. Can I change the colors? Customize? Can I do the deadly wind? I'm gonna fart on them all. Major damage. Oh my god, I gotta go get myself Smash Bros now. How are they
I guess he's
adding all
going
these
Tekken
characters?
crazy.
Oh my
Well,
god,
guys,
can I play
enjoy
Kuma
the
and Panda at
show
the same time, or
while I
tag team
try
with
to
Shiryu or Hiyashi
text him
or
or
Lily?
something. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, including you, Dad. Happy Father's Day. So on June 12th, Alex Strecht decided that it was a fun idea to vandalize the Pride streetscape in Palm Beach. Well, this past Friday, he was charged with $1,000 for criminal mischief for willfully and maliciously committing an act of vandalism. Next story is really funny to me, but you know that ATL Mansion that we heard the stories from, that series? Well, apparently it's being sold for $1.8 million. And I hope he doesn't get none of that money.
Judge dismisses charges against Simone Biles' brother, and I'm so glad because they were trying to use anything against this queen, this powerhouse, even her own brother against her reputation, and I'm so happy for them.
You guys know I stand Britney. Well, Britney says that she doesn't know if she's going to perform live anymore. Everything she has been dealing with these last couple of years. If so be. Queen, take the rest that you need. We love you.
Thanks, Sky Bear. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the winner of our giveaway last week for the Access Guide to the Black Comic Book Community is Julio Molero. Congrats, Julio. Please send us your shipping information to HilaHilaBear@gmail.com so that we can get that out to you quickly. We hope you enjoy it. Thank you all for participating in this raffle. We'll have another one next week. And thank you for watching. If you like these news blasts, feel free to share Bear with your friends. You can also like, comment, subscribe, and click the notifications alert bell to stay woke 52 times a year in 52 seconds of news. Want more news with your favorite news bear? Feel free to stay to the end to watch some clips or images with me. Bye for now.